All right, let's dive into some Spanish. We're taking a close look at cada and cualquiera, two indefinite pronouns that can be a little tricky.
Yeah, they're definitely worth exploring. We'll be digging into a Spanish language lesson and pulling out all the interesting details.
So to start, cada basically means each in English, right?
Exactly. It's all about focusing on the individuals within a group.
Hmm.
Like, cada niño tiene su juguete. So each child has their toy.
Ah, so even if we're talking about all the kids together, cada highlights that each one has their own separate toy.
That's it. And that actually, it ties into something interesting about, I guess you could say, cultural values. It emphasizes this idea that each child has their own thing, that they're responsible for it, even when they're part of a group.
Hmm, that's cool. It's like the language itself is kind of reflecting a cultural norm.
Exactly. Now, cada can be used with numbers, too, to talk about how often something happens, like cada dos días, meaning every 2 days.
And that's useful. So you could say, like, I call my mom every other day.
Right. And in Spanish, you'd say, llamo a mi madre cada dos días. So I call my mother every 2 days.
Great example. Now, are there any traps we should watch out for with cada?
Well, the main thing to remember is that cada is always singular, even when it's talking about a plural group. So never cadas.
Ah, got it. No cadas allowed. It's a grammar gremlin.
Right. Okay, so moving on to cada uno de, meaning each one of.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Sure. So cada uno de can be followed by, pronouns or articles, possessives, demonstratives, but it always comes before a plural noun.
So we're really picking out each individual element from a bigger group.
Exactly. The lesson gives us a good example. Cada uno de nosotros tiene hermanos, meaning each one of us has siblings.
And cada una de las casas son nuevas, meaning each one of the houses is new.
Perfect. Whether it's siblings or houses, cada uno de is how you pinpoint each specific thing.
Speaking of pinpointing, let's move on to cualquiera, which generally means anyone or anything.
Yeah, cualquiera is super versatile. You can use it to express a sense of like openness or possibility, like a la fiesta puede venir cualquiera, which means anyone can come to the party.
Or cualquiera puede conducir hoy en día, so anyone can drive nowadays. It really captures that broad, inclusive feeling.
It does. Now here's a little distinction. Cualquiera and cualquier, they're a bit different. Cualquier always comes before a singular noun.
So it's a bit more particular about who it hangs out with.
You could say that. For example, cualquier día, meaning any day, is masculine, singular, and cualquier camiseta, which is any shirt, is feminine, singular.
But you wouldn't say cualquiera camiseta.
That's a common mistake. Cualquier always sticks with singular nouns.
Cualquiera likes to keep it simple. So what about the construction uno cualquiera, meaning anyone?
This one is useful when you don't have a preference, like, está un bolígrafo cualquiera, por favor, or give me any pen, please.
Oh, I get it. Like, if you're offering someone a choice of shirts and you don't mind which one they pick, you could say, te doy la camisa nueva, quiero una camisa cualquiera. Or, I'll give you the new shirt, I want any shirt.
Exactly. You can actually switch the word order around too, but you always got to have that singular noun after cualquier. So you could also say, quiero cualquier camisa.
So cada is all about individuality, and cualquiera is more about that open-ended possibility. It's amazing how much meaning is packed into these little words.
I know, right? And what's even more interesting is how these ideas, cada and cualquiera, connect to like bigger cultural themes in Spanish-speaking societies.
That's a great point. It's like the language is giving us a glimpse into their cultural values and how they see things.
Exactly. But before we jump into that, I'm curious, what are your initial thoughts on these words? What stands out to you?
Well, that connection between cada and that individual responsibility idea really got me thinking. Even a simple phrase about toys kind of hints at this idea that everyone has a role to play.
Yeah, and it pops up in a lot of places in Spanish-speaking cultures, family dynamics, for instance. There's a big emphasis on each member contributing to the family as a whole.
That makes sense. And what about cualquiera? How does that concept of openness and choice play out in their culture?
Well, you got to be careful with cualquiera.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it can come across as informal or even dismissive depending on the situation. Like you probably wouldn't use it as a super formal setting, or when you want to make it clear that you're choosing something specific. It kind of reflects a more laid-back attitude, a willingness to just go with the flow.
So it's not just about grammar rules, it's about understanding how the words actually function in like social situations.
Right. You don't want to accidentally offend someone by using cualquiera at the wrong time. It's all about picking the right tool for the job,
That's a great analogy. It's like you've got this whole toolbox of words, and knowing when to use each one is how you communicate effectively.
Exactly. And the more you learn about the language and the culture, the better you get at choosing the right words.
Mm. So true. It's all about practice and just being exposed to it. Okay, I gotta admit, I love a good quiz. Can we test our Cada and Cualquiera knowledge?
Of course. Let's see how you do. I'll give you a sentence in English, and you translate it using either cada or cualquiera.
Bring it on.
All right, first one. I want to buy a gift for each of my friends.
Okay, so individual gifts, highlighting each friend. Would it be, quiero comprar un regalo para cada uno de mis amigos?
Spot on. You've definitely got the hang of cada and that emphasis on individuality.
All right, feeling confident. Hit me with another one.
Next up, any day is good for me to meet up.
Ooh, this one's all about flexibility, no specific preference. I think I got it. Cualquier día me viene bien para reunirnos.
You nailed it. You've mastered the cualquier día construction.
2 for 2. What's the final challenge?
Last one. I'll give you any shirt you want.
Okay, so this is about offering a choice but not having a preference. Let me see. I think it's, te doy la camiseta que quieras, quiero una cualquiera.
Amazing. You've totally aced the cualquier nuances.
Yeah.
You're well on your way to being a pronoun pro.
This quiz really helped it click, and it's way more fun than just memorizing grammar rules.
For sure. Language learning should be engaging and enjoyable. The more you enjoy it, the more likely you are to keep at it.
So true. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress and enjoying the journey.
Exactly. And even when you mess up, and we all do, those mistakes are like super valuable learning moments. Don't be afraid to play around with the language, try new things, and see what happens.
It's all part of the fun. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to go back to that thought-provoking question you asked earlier.
Oh, you mean the one about how cada and cualquiera reflect those bigger cultural ideas in Spanish-speaking cultures?
Yeah. I think it's a brilliant question to leave our listener with. It's like an open invitation to keep exploring, to look beyond the words themselves and see how they connect to those deeper cultural values and perspectives.
It reminds us that language isn't just a bunch of rules. It's a living reflection of the people who speak it. And the more you dig into a language, the more you learn about the culture in the world around you.
This deep dive has been so insightful and engaging. I feel like I've got a way better grasp on cada and cualquiera, and I hope our listener does too.
I've really enjoyed our chat, and I hope it encourages our listener to keep up with their Spanish studies with, renewed curiosity and excitement.
Absolutely. So until our next deep dive, keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep that Spanish spark alive. Hasta pronto.
Adios.
Yeah, it's like you unlock a whole new world just with these words.
That's a great way to put it. So wrapping up our deep dive into cada and cualquiera, what are the key takeaways you hope our listener will walk away with?
Well, I hope they've got a good handle on, what these words mean and how to use them. We've covered a lot, from singular and plural forms to those trickier constructions like cada uno de and uno a cualquiera.
Yeah, definitely. We hit those grammar essentials.
Yeah.
But we also went a bit deeper, right?
Absolutely. We talked about how cada suggests that cultural focus on individual responsibility and playing your part. And we explored how flexible and inclusive cualquiera can be, but also how it can be informal. And, you got to use it carefully.
And that quiz was fun, right? Hopefully it gave our listener a chance to test themselves and really see how these words work in practice.
Yeah. Quizzes are way more fun than just memorizing rules.
I agree. Language learning should be, engaging and something you look forward to. The more you enjoy it, the more you'll stick with it.
Totally. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress and, enjoying the journey.
Exactly. And even when you make mistakes, which we all do, those are actually like really valuable learning experiences. So don't be afraid to play around with the language, try things out and see what happens.
It's all part of the fun. Now, before we sign off, I want to bring back that question you asked earlier.
Oh, you mean the one about how cada and cualquiera might be connected to some of those bigger themes in Spanish-speaking cultures?
That's the one. I think it's such a great question to leave our listeners with. It encourages them to keep digging deeper, look beyond the words themselves and see how they tie into cultural values and how people see the world.
It's a good reminder that language is more than just rules, right? It reflects the people who speak it.
Yeah.
And the more you explore language, the more you discover about the culture and, the the world as a whole.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I've got a much richer understanding of Cada and Cualquiera, and I hope our listeners do too.
I've loved our chat, and I really hope it motivates our listeners to keep up their Spanish studies, with that same curiosity and enthusiasm.
For sure. So until next time, keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep that Spanish spark alive. Hasta pronto.
Adios.